From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Tisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, August the 12th, 2024. An IDF soldier was killed during battle with terror group Hamas in Gaza. He is 19-year-old Sergeant Omer Ginsberg, killed in a Hamas-claimed sniper attack in Khan Yunis yesterday. And an Israeli man was killed and another man wounded in a drive-by terror shooting later yesterday afternoon. The incident took place on a major highway in the Jordan Valley in the West Bank, where the IDF said terrorists fired from a passing vehicle at several vehicles, killing 23-year-old Yonatan Deutsch, who, while not on active duty when he was killed, had been a commando in the IDF's Maglan unit and part of the team that ran to Kibbutz Nachal Oz on the day of the Hamas October 7th massacre. Deutsch was laid to rest today. 32-year-old Anas Jaramana, who was in another vehicle at the location, was shot and injured by the terrorists. He was taken to the hospital for treatment. The IDF continues to search for the suspects. The IDF today shared the names and photos of some Hamas terrorists who had embedded themselves inside a school compound and were killed in an Israeli airstrike on Saturday morning in Gaza. The IDF said so far there have been a confirmed 31 terrorists eliminated in the strike on the Hamas stronghold in the Al-Taba'in school, where the terrorists plan to execute attacks against Israel. Hamas claimed that 100 people were killed in the airstrike. The terror group is known to inflate the number of casualties and also makes no distinction between terrorists and civilians. The IDF said the 3 precise munitions that were used in the airstrike, according to professional analysis, cannot cause the amount of damage that is being reported by the Hamas-run Government Information Office in Gaza. The IDF saying, furthermore, no severe damage was caused to the compound where the terrorists were situated. IDF spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said all steps had been taken to avoid civilian harm, with more on the specifically targeted strike.
Early this morning, the IDF conducted a precision strike against the terrorists in one specific building of the compound, an area that, according to our intelligence, no women and children were present. You can see in a video published by us today that the compound is still intact and that there is no significant cratering or damage to the main structure of the compound. This pattern of systematic abuse of schools for military activities by Hamas and Islamic Jihad endangers both Gazans and Israeli civilians. It must be condemned by the international community.
Well, Israel remains in a high state of alert and readiness amid threats from Iran and its terror proxies, including Hamas and Hezbollah. Chief of the General Staff, Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, emphasized the continuation of a high level of readiness and efforts to prepare for offense and defense in a situational assessment he held today. And Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant gave, he wrote, a security review to the members of the Foreign Affairs and Security Committee amid the threats, saying we are in days of vigilance and preparedness. In recent days, we have been devoting time to strengthening the defense and also to creating offensive options in response and also as an initiative if required. The main goal, Gallant said, is to protect the citizens of the State of Israel. Rockets, meanwhile, continue to be fired at northern Israel by Hezbollah in Lebanon, including a barrage of some 30 rockets fired last night. No injuries were reported. The IDF continues to respond to the attacks, hitting Hezbollah terrorists and terror infrastructure. Well, Team Israel arrived back home today after an inspiring showing at the Paris Olympic Games, winning a total of 7 medals, including 1 gold, courtesy of windsurfer Tom Reuveni, who together with Romy Paritsky were flag bearers at the closing ceremonies yesterday. Paritsky is captain of Israel's rhythmic gymnastics team, who won a silver medal this weekend. A press conference was held today for the arrival back home of Team Israel. The Times of Israel cited Reuveni saying, "I knew that the gold would not just be for me." He said, "There are so many soldiers who have been called together to protect us, and thanks to them, I am here right now." President of Israel's Olympic Committee, Yael Arad, an Olympian in her own right, told the press, "As you saw over the past 2.5 weeks, this delegation surpassed all imagination. The athletes proved that the Israeli spirit is something that cannot be stopped." Well, Tisha B'av, the Jewish day of mourning for the destruction of the temples, begins this evening. This year, as the Jewish world also mourns the tragedy of October the 7th and all those who have been lost since, and prays for the safe and quick return of the hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza, now for 311 days. We will be bringing you services from the Hampton Synagogue for Tisha B'av tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Taking a look now at more of our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, August the 12th. After services from the Hampton Synagogue at 8 o'clock, Abigail Pogrebin is joined by Rabbi David-Seth Kirshner to talk about his book that chronicles the first 50 days of the Israel-Hamas War. At 8:30, I sit down with Grammy-nominated musician John Ondrasik, known by his stage name Five for Fighting, to discuss being one of the rare artists in the entertainment industry to advocate for Israel since October the 7th, simply because, he says, it is the right thing to do. At 9, Avi Hoffman talks about his project, the Dachau album. At 10, it's an encore of Tisha B'av services. And coming up next, it's Good Week Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, August the 12th, 2024. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.